hey, I'm trying to find people that have some kind of inspiration in their lives. And I was just seeing an old friend of mine, girl, that I knew many, many years ago when I was young, and she's a Bahai. And I've been seeing in her behavior and what she's up to in the world, and it's all what you would consider a person with a high moral, spiritual mindset. You know, doing what is right, doing what is good for the community, not doing bad things or making life ugly. But she's doing positive things, you know, community service almost like. Her whole life is, and she's a photographer and she takes care of animals, you know. She's as innocent as the driven snow. But, no buts about that. But the world, you know, as a whole, I think really would like to be there. But there's a force that drags us down and drags some people down a lot farther than others, you know, and some people just kind of trip, fall, hit the floor a couple of times, face in the cake, you know, embarrassment, some qualities that maybe we get caught with once in a while and feel judged or judgeable, as I didn't do that right, you know. So, but anyway, I'm talking about this girl, you know, wow, holy smokes. I mean, she is just trying to do what is right. And I want to give you a picture of it as soon as I get it here. We'll go right there. I got to make it bigger so you can see it. Let's do that. Okay, the promise of world peace. You know, and then I hear somebody in my mind laughing hysterically over it. Well, could it be me? Is it my inner mind just laughing? The promise of world peace. Okay. We're about to go to war, world war. In fact, world war probably has already started. But that's what some people are saying. I don't think it has started yet. I think something really happens, like some big, huge bomb gets dropped somewhere. And it's like, okay, we either got to take you out, whoever they are, or you're going to succeed in destroying life as we know it. So, you know, America probably is going to have to stand up. I'm worried that America, though, has fallen. They're so involved in foreign affairs. You know, got our armies all over the world, and the ones that did return from Iraq. They're just wiped out. It's like, please, no more war. Or maybe they're not thinking that. Maybe they're going, yeah, well, I'll defend my country, by God. You know. Oh, gosh. But the Baha'i, you know, in 1985, the Universal House of Justice addressed a message to the peoples of the world, inviting them to consider that a new social order can be fostered by all peoples, seeing themselves as members of one universal family. This message was presented to world leaders and countless others during the United Nations International Year of Peace. Now, okay, this is all sounding pretty lollipop, but really, okay, what's wrong with lollipop? Isn't lollipop free of murder and hate and sedition and whatever else you can think of? I don't know what else there is besides evil. And so we look for world peace, and there's strength in the world happening with the League of Nations. They've been gone since 1917. It is out of a deep sense of spiritual and moral duty that we are impelled at this opportune moment to invite your attention to the penetrating insights first communicated to the rulers of mankind more than a century ago by Baha'u'llah, founder of the Baha'i faith, of which we are the trustees. The winds of despair, Baha'u'llah wrote, are alas blowing from every direction, and the strife that divides and affects the human race is daily increasing. The signs of impending convulsions and chaos can now be discerned, inasmuch as the prevailing order appears to be lamentably defective. Now, this is Baha'u'llah saying this. Okay, well, this prophetic judgment has been amply confirmed by the common experience of humanity. Right, so I'm saying, yeah, well, tell us something we don't know. Flaws in the prevailing order are conspicuous in the inability of sovereign states organized as the United Nations to exercise the specter of war, the threat collapse of the international economic order, the spread of anarchy and terrorism, and the intense suffering which these and other afflictions are causing to increasing millions. So, yeah, life is just degenerating into a mess. Now, I can't imagine that was Baha'u'llah, because didn't he die some time ago? And he's seemingly describing our world today, you know. With the entrenchment of this view, a paralyzing contradiction has developed in human affairs. On one hand, people of all nations proclaim not only their readiness, but their longing for peace and harmony, for an end to the harrowing apprehensions tormenting their daily lives. On the other, uncritical assent is given to the proposition that human beings are incorrigibly selfish and aggressive, and thus incapable of erecting a social system at once progressive and peaceful, dynamic and harmonious, a system giving free play to individual creativity and initiative, but based on cooperation and reciprocity. Well, big words there, but they're not that big, but you know, it got convoluted. In other words, a lollipop world where everybody cares and everybody contributes, and we're hanging on to a higher form of what to do with our lives and what we want to contribute to the world. As the need for peace becomes more urgent, this fundamental contradiction, which hinders its realization, demands a reassessment of the assumptions upon which the commonly held view of mankind's historical predicament is based. The commonly held view of mankind's historical predicament. Well, we've had the predicament since when? You know? What the heck? Okay. Dispassionately examined, the evidence reveals that such conduct, far from expressing man's true self, represents a distortion of the human spirit. Satisfaction on this point will enable all people to set in motion constructive social forces, which, because they are consistent with human nature, will encourage harmony and cooperation instead of war and peace. Now, it sounds like cops, but the thing is that cops, you know, not necessarily are good, really morally, spiritually clean. I mean, cops is kind of a scary thing. But I don't want to say that. I shouldn't say that. They represent, you know, doing what is right. And if you don't, you get punished. To choose such a course is not to deny humanity's past, but to understand it. The Baha'i faith regards the current world confusion and calamitous condition in human affairs as a natural phase in an organic process leading ultimately and irresistibly to the unification of the human race in a single social order whose boundaries are those of the planet. The human race, as a distinct organic unit, has passed through evolutionary stages, analogous to the stages of infancy and childhood in the lives of its individual members, and is now in the culminating period of its turbulent adolescence, approaching its long-awaited coming of age. Well, shoot, I agree with that. I mean, okay, sure, mankind is really needing to wake up. And the idea of waking up is being promulgated by many, be they religious, spiritual icons, or just people taking a step towards being a voice for peace, a voice for enlightened living, and assuming on what enlightenment means. We're not killing each other, and everyone works for the good of all. A prerequisite to undertaking the stupendous enterprise of building a peaceful world. That such an enterprise is possible, that the necessary constructive forces do exist, that unifying social structures can be erected, is the theme we urge you to examine. Whatever suffering and turmoil the years immediately ahead may hold, however dark the immediate circumstances, the Baha'i community believes that humanity can confront this supreme trial with confidence in its ultimate outcome. Far from signalizing the end of civilization, the convulsive changes towards which humanity is being ever more rapidly impelled will serve to release the potentialities inherent in the station of man and reveal the full measure of his destiny on earth, the innate excellence of his reality. Okay, well, shoot. Now, is that the whole thing is Baha'i? Wow. The Promise of World Peace, written by the, Baha'u'llah. Well, the Promise of World Peace can be read in full at the Baha'i Reference Library. To the Peoples of the World, 1985. Okay, well, it seems pretty prophetic to me. I don't want to lose that. That was a worthy thing to read again and again a few times. I mean, it's the idea of what we all would imagine a post-apocalyptic world movie would look like. You know, the kids are kind of taking an education from an older person teaching them stuff, and someone says, "Well, how was the old world when people used to kill each other and all that?" Oh, well, Sally, it doesn't happen anymore because we've adopted a potential solution to all future problems, and it all is related to our personal commitment to not let evil, which will show up in the forms of wickedness, and wickedness shows up in the form of stealing, lying, cheating, money-hungry type people. So I could go on, but that's, to me, the evil is the greed, and yet at the same time, I know we all need something that helps us survive in the world. Yeah, see, I hold back, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I could have said, but I'm not saying it. I just really want to stick with the Baha'i thing. The Baha'i dedication to a higher standard of personality, of relationship spiritually with life. It has to be a connection to a positive force that is inspiring us to do things related towards helping our fellow man, sharing in such a way that it blesses the world and helps the victims caught in the wheels of the not so holy way of life that we're surrounded by in this world. There's victims, and so we want to be there for the victims. And of course, we have the police force to go get the bad guys and get them to quit victimizing people, because they're the cause of it. So get rid of them, and then basically we'll have a beautiful world. Now that's a pretty scary thought. That means that it's quite possible that there will be a way that the not so good people are extinguished from the planet. I mean, if you go to war and you got your gun and you're trying to shoot the enemy and you get shot and die, well, you won't be back. You're not going to be back. So killing is how to get yourself taken from the planet. So if you don't go kill somebody and or get killed by somebody, then you might inherit the earth. Be learning the ways of peace by avoiding killing, avoiding the development of hatred, which is what leads to killing, trying to understand everyone's point of view, some kind of form of empathy that has a higher integrity to it. Not ignoring bad and not ignoring that horrible things are happening in the world, but definitely trying to avert living like that, or if we do run into people that are living like that, trying to communicate in a way to, in order for there to be peace in a prosperous world, you'll have to stop what you're doing. You're not going to get away with killing somebody, killing only breeds killing. Although I'm afraid to say that, because then the killers will just be with a license to kill, and knowing that the weak won't stand up to them. And so the ones that take over the world are the ones that have all the guns and the power. And that's what's happening in the world. We're going to be going to war with... I better not even say anything about it. I mean, it seems like we're going to go to war. And it's going to be Russia. And it's going to be China. And it's going to be Iran. It's going to be all those guys over there. Anybody that's a friend of the Jews or the Israelites will become an enemy of the rest of the world. Okay. That's a pretty profound statement in itself. That if you, and it rides with the thought like this: he that lives by the sword will die by the sword. So we, the people, will have to promote something better than kill your neighbor. Don't kill your neighbor. There we go. I'm Dan Crothers. I'm the Mystic Ranger. And I'm new to doing this kind of stuff, but all along I've felt that all I got to do is just be live, And I do music, so I'll be doing concerts. And then I'm just going to talk. I'm going to have people come in and join me, and we're going to talk about the situation of the world. And I'll try to be artistic about it. And, try to be interesting about it. But it's going to be live, and I was just blabbing here. I put it on record, and I went, well, let's just see what happens. And okay, I could literally take the footage, add music, chop out bad parts, and then I've got something to present. And we'll call this one the Bahai Faith Declaration of Peace to the World in 1985. That was worthy. See, a worthy thing. Worthy. And I just want to bring more worthy stuff. So if you have something to share, why don't you call me? I'm going to see if I've got my phone number up here. And you could call me. There it is, right there. I'm going to put it right there. You can just call me. I'll be around, so just call me. Try not to make me frown. Okay, well, so there it is. 971-379-1718. 971-379-1718. Hike. 971-379-1718. That's how it works. And if you want to talk to me, then FaceTime me at that number. FaceTime me. Lot to talk about. I mean, really, what do you got to say? You just heard me, so call me. Come on and call me. I'll be around, so just call me at the Talk About